Hey guys, today on Scotty's Garage we're going to try and work out what's going on with Dad's Ute. Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. For those just joining us, this is Dad's Ute. It is a 1968 Valiant Ute with a 318 Mopar engine in it. It makes good horsepower, it runs usually really good, but today, the last couple of weeks, it's been running really rough. Well actually, usually about the last week or so, been running a bit rough. I suspect a couple issues. One is carby, because for those that watched the Carnage episodes and saw me and Gus drive this thing up to Chrysler's on the Murray, you'll know that the carby developed a hole in the float and the float sunk to the bottom, flooded the engine just repeatedly, and that was really painful. What we did at the time is we borrowed a couple carbies from Rod Taylor, who runs he's the head of the Chrysler Club up there. Rod had a couple carbies on his shelf because he's got late model Hemis and everything now, so he didn't need the carbies. They were sitting there, he's lent them to me. I've still got that one on the car. That is an 800 CFM car. The car usually runs a 600 CFM, but we've just taken it straight off his shelf. It was on a big block, probably a 440, and I plonked it straight on this 318. So it's probably over fueling it quite a bit, and that I think has fouled the plugs. So we're going to try and clean the plugs up because I don't have any spares right now, and I don't really want to go down the part shop and buy new plugs if I can help it. So we'll try cleaning these plugs, see if we can get it fired up like that. But also I'm going to fix the old carby and put that back on for the moment until we can get back to the dyno with this car and then set up this 800 on it, because I think the 800, it actually kind of likes it at high RPM. It likes this 800, and I think it has the potential to run really good with that carby, but I think we need to dyno tune it first. So let's clear the plugs first, see what that does, and then we'll fix the other carby and maybe throw that back on. Alright, well let's start by looking at the plugs first. Luckily I brought some tools from the Carnage workshop because as I've mentioned before, pretty much all the tools there, all the hand tools are mine, and I had nothing here at home. So anyway, we'll whip these plugs out, have a look at them. I suspect they're going to be really black. So let's check it out. First contestant. Oh yeah, she black. Okay. Let's have a look at contestant number 2. Yep, black. We'll whip the rest out. Right, well these are all quite black. They are fouled pretty badly. So what I'm going to do is try and clean them up the best I can. I don't have much in the way of solvents here in the workshop, but I'll see what we can do. But ultimately I might have to just go get another set of plugs. I mean, people will say, yeah, plugs are cheap, and they are. But if you've got no money, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. So let's see what we can do. Ew, yucky. So back in the day, this is something we had to do on the farm as a necessity, because we were a long way from anywhere. I mean, the local town, the closest local town was, half an hour away at least, probably a little bit longer. The major town would have been Mudgee, I guess, so that would have been, an hour or more away. So, just ducking down and getting a fresh plug or fresh couple plugs, especially for the old like Briggs and Strattons. Sometimes they used to foul up quite a bit. So we just pull the plugs out, give them the best cleanup we could, fire it up, and they'd run again. No problems. Until the next time we pull the plug out and re-clean it. So, but they don't seem to be carboning up too much. I mean, there's a bit of black soot there, but They're not like burning oil or anything silly like that. But yeah, some of those old industrial motors, they used to burn oil quite a bit, especially as they got old and worn. So you'd have all sorts of stuff you'd have to dig off the plugs. Alright, see how we go with that. And we'll just keep going. 7 more to do. Don't know if you can really see that, but that's kind of a before and after. We'll see if it makes a difference. Right, well, I've got these 4 sort of clean. I'll whack them back in and pull the other 4 out, clean them up. We'll see if this thing will fire up just with the plug clean. Number 2. So all the plugs are in, we'll just nip them up tight. Get our leads are on. Okay, 1, 8, 4. So that means, so that's 5. Alright, that makes that 7. Right, we'll do this side. Sorry if you can hear the shed aircon going behind the camera. I do have some new lapel mics on order, so they should be here soon, but yeah. I guess I am kind of spoilt having aircon in the shed. Not sure how effective it is with the door open, but need to do that as well, just to get some light in here. Right, well, we got the driver's side out, so let's just repeat the process. It'll feel really silly if this doesn't fire up. Plugs are in, leads are on. Let's give it a crack. Is not loving life at the moment, is it? Certainly squirting plenty of fuel in. Okay, so I've been down the street and I've got myself a set of spark plugs. Remember when spark plugs were used to be like $2.50, $3 each? They ain't that anymore. But anyway, we have plugs. Alright, get the old ones out. I've decided to go with 6s this time. They are slightly hotter than what I had. I had 7s in there before, but figure let's try the 6s. I mean, normally I would use a 7 in like a turbo engine and that sort of thing, but I think this one, naturally aspirated. I took a bit of a gamble before running the 7s, but I think they're just a little bit cold for it. I mean, these are the only plugs I've ever had in it. You know, I've never changed the plugs since we started it up, I don't think, so yeah. It's the first set of new plugs I've had in it in a few years. I'm also going to put some anti-seize on them. Brand new tube of anti-seize. It'll last me forever. Don't need to put much on them, that's for sure. So I always like to use anti-seize on new plugs, so there's no chance of a thread galling up your aluminium head, especially aluminium heads, you know, so really important. Alright, well that'll be my official Scotty's Garage tube of anti-seize. I have a tube at Carnage, and I've had that since, well, Carnage began, and we're still using it. We've still got plenty of it. So anyway, alright, new plugs. Of course they're bigger. Ah, damn, you know what I've done? I've made a critical error. The old plugs, NGKs, but 5/8. 5/8 for a 5/8 plug socket. New ones 13/16, so much bigger. And that's a problem because on the Edelbrock heads where you screw the plugs in, the surrounding shroud, I guess, around the plug is quite tight. So a 5/8 plug fits fine. But the 13/16, it's too big to go into the head. In terms like you'll screw it in, but you won't get a plug socket onto that. And I can't take them back. I've just put anti-seize on those ones for starters. I mean, technically they might take these four back, but bugger! So I'm going to have to go back to the shop and get the 5/8 plugs. And I'm back with the right plugs this time. So that's the difference. On this side I got a BP6ES, on this side BCP6ES. So the BC is for a 5/8 hex, or 16mm they call it. This is 13/16 or 20.8 I believe they call it. But anyway, they're both a 14mm thread, and they're both a projector plug, and they're both the number 6 heat range, but yeah, the difference is 5/8 hex. So now they'll fit in the Edelbrock heads. Or anti-seize. Everything seems to be going to where it's supposed to go. Alright. Let's see if it starts. Alrighty. And that's all it was, a set of foul plugs. So now we're going to fire it up, warm it up, and adjust the idle mixtures so it doesn't do this again, because I think that's what's been happening is I've been starting here, let it idle and warm up, and it's just been filling with fuel. Well, I found the idle mixture screws were screwed way out, like a long way out. I've screwed them in like probably 6 or 7 turns. You know, so now they're 1.5 turns out each. So we'll fire it up, get it up to temp, and then we'll adjust it and see how good we can get it. Adjusting the idle mixtures on one of these Edelbrocks is quite simple. It's just these 2 screws at the front. So we'll start by screwing them in and seeing what happens, see if it dies or not. So most of the times you can kind of eyeball these things, or in this case earball it, have a listen to it and see where the RPM dies, but it's not giving me much of a reading. So what I'm going to do is use a vacuum gauge. It is the proper way to do it. I forgot I had this thing in the cupboard. So we'll hook up the vacuum gauge and yeah, see if we can adjust it that way, get an accurate reading on this thing and maximise that idle mixture. Right, so there's our 2 idle mixture screws there and there. And then we're going to hook up our vacuum gauge to our vacuum port just here. Alright. Let's sit that in a place where we can see it. Not sure you guys will be able to see this, but I'll see if I can get a good shot at it. I'm going to start these screws in all the way. Alright, that's all. That's all. Let's go out 1.5 on each side, so half, 1, half, half, 1, half. Right, well we'll fire it up again, we'll see how we go. it's running a lot better. Well, it's actually running now, so that's a bonus. I've done a lot of adjustment with those idle mixture screws. I'm not getting a lot of movement on the vacuum cage. Maybe that's an indication that the carby's too big. I don't know. I guess we could trial it by putting the 650 on it. See if that makes a difference. But it seems to idle fine. It's not coughing and farting. I've got the idle mixture screws screwed in a long way, certainly a long way from where they were, and then just a turn each out. And the vacuum's sitting about 9 at the moment, so look, this cam doesn't make a lot of vacuum. Just what is what it is. So I guess I should be just happy it runs. If it does foul the plugs again, then I know that this carby's just simply too big for it. But I guess we'll see. But anyway, it runs, so at least I have this as a backup to run to drive to work if I need to, because that's kind of what prompted all this. I had a problem with the AU the other morning, didn't want to fire up. I thought, I'll just jump in Dad's ute, drive that to work. Well, do you think it'd start? No, it did what it did before. And I'm like, oh my God, why? But anyway, I ended up sorting out the AU, but still, it's like, it's annoyed me. Why is Dad's ute all of a sudden not running right? So anyway, it runs now, certainly enough to drive to work if I need to. I guess we'll see how that goes. And yeah. I guess we'll keep tinkering with Dad's ute on future episodes of Scotty's Garage.